Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 2:04. And just so that everybody knows, the meeting is recorded. So if you've missed something and you want to catch up on it later, you can go online and view it. And we have all of the members of council are present today, along with our CAO and our planning assistant. And with that, I will ask for a resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've added two items on the agenda that were last minute items. They were communication for action and communication for information. So resolve that the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions. Communication for action 7.4, Selkirk District Community Foundation. Communication for information 11.2.1, municipal and northern relations.
Okay, can I have a mover? I know Councillor Boulanger had his hand up. Were you moving that, Councillor, or did you have something you wanted to move? Seconder then, please. Councillor Spicer, any further discussion or additions or things that we need to talk about today? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next item is the confirmation of our minutes, and we have one set of minutes from our meeting on September the 10th. If I could have the resolution for that, please.
Resolved that the minutes of September 10th, 2024 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any corrections or things that were deleted from the minutes? Nothing, everything looked good? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so number 4 on our agenda, we are a little bit earlier, but if our delegation is ready to present, you are next up on the agenda, Gull Lake Ratepayers Association. So I'm not sure if you're all going to present or...
Well, strength in numbers.
Right.
Strength in numbers. Do girls want to sit at the front?
No.
Oh, come on, Jill, there's lots of...
She doesn't like sitting beside me. Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing us this time. Before we get started, we have had in the past year a turnover of members on the Gull Lake Ratepayers. So I'd like to introduce our latest president, Lana Bushel. We signed her to a 5-year contract, so she's not going anywhere. And our treasurer, as you're all aware, Jill Sitar. So she is officially the piggy bank of Gull Lake. She is on the basin board as well as the GLRA. So we're here today to discuss the green space. Before we get started on that, I did want to extend an apology for the communication breakdown we had this year. There were some problems with dates. There were some problems with, as we understand, I still haven't heard back from the RM, but there seems to be an issue with emails. Like you guys aren't getting every email that we send out to you. So I don't know if that had been addressed with administration or what have you.
Well, I get the emails because I'm a member of the association.
Right.
So I get them, and that's when I said,
Yeah.
you know, why aren't we
So,
so.
and what I've been doing, I think we had talked about it at the AGM, is generally when I was sending the invitations out for the different events, I was clicking on the actual email address from the RM's website and then cut and pasting it over to the our mail account. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I know you guys didn't get the initial invite, but when I sent out a follow-up test email, you did get it. Does that remember?
Through that same method, through that same method of
Yes.
clicking and moving?
Yes.
Just when you said that, I'm thinking maybe that's what was when you click on it and move it to a email.
Yeah, no, it's been sporadic for a while, so I'm not entirely sure if it's something at our end or if it's something at the RM's website end, but...
Yeah, I think probably the easiest way, not so to solve it, but for you people to get the emails to us is just send them to info@RM of St. Clements.
Right.
And if it's for all of us, it will get distributed and, you
Right.
know, so, and I mean, all of us have our own emails and it's just our first name at
Right.
rmofstclements.com. So there shouldn't be too much issue with
Okay.
it, so.
Well, what we have done is, we've had meetings since we ended our events, and we do have a preliminary idea of our dates. So we're going to get the dates done before winter time for next spring, and we'll get all the dates, whether, the council wishes to attend whatever event, but we will get that to you. So hopefully the line of communication will become a little bit clearer and stronger, so.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, because we've never had issues before, Darren.
No,
You know,
and like I
It just seems
said,
this year that something has gone a little sideways, but,
well, I'm getting
one of
old,
those
it could
things.
very well be operator error. I never rule that out either, so. But having said
and
that.
I'm not blaming anyone either, so.
Anyways, so apologies for that. Like I said, hopefully we'll have everything set up earlier, and then we can distribute the entire year's events
Yeah.
for you, so.
I think Councillor Strang had something there.
I was just gonna do a suggestion is put, sending the email, do a read receipt, so then you'll
Right,
know
and if
that.
it's been received, yeah.
Exactly, then
Yeah,
you'll know that if the RM even read
Yeah.
it, that it picked up or not. Just
Yeah.
a suggestion.
yeah, no, for sure, that's certainly something we can add.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, when we drove up there for the family fun day and the grounds were vacant, it was like, oh, what the heck happened here?
Nobody here to have fun, right?
Yeah,
So-
nobody here to have fun
Did you
with.
take a tour of the grounds?
We looked around,
Okay,
that was
good.
it.
Good. So, well, that's a good segue into what we're doing. So, I don't know if anybody had attended the car show, but the car show was very well received. Everything went off really well. And a lot of the comments that I had heard over the course of the day talking to people was how great it is to have things happening in the park. So in addition to the car show, as you were aware, we did complete our volleyball court this spring. And there were a few weekends where kids, we had our volleyball and bocce ball tournament, it was well attended. But we've had weekends when I've been driving by and I see a group of kids playing volleyball. So the green space has been very well received. And I think it's, as we had said when we began the project, we wanted to establish a community area. So we are here today to make a few suggestions and discuss with you our thoughts for further enhancement. And the GLRA is willing today, we would like to pay for it and have hydro service installed. And with that, we will do the contact with hydro as well as the electrician to get the necessary things in place. Jill, who is a retired hydro worker, is kind of the liaise with that and is helping us out with that. But that is an endeavor that we want to do. What we're looking for from council with this is if the GLRA is willing to foot the bill for the installation of hydro and everything, if the RM is acceptable in receiving a hydro bill every month.
Comment?
Go ahead, Rob.
Abe, how near is the last pole that you want to strain from? How close is it?
The pole is on
Approximately.
Ewart,
Pardon me?
on Ewart Street.
Yeah.
So there's a pole line going down there, and there's that log house. It feeds that log house, so we would come off the back
Yeah.
and put our own pole in.
Okay, so you need from there, you need just one more pole, or would you need 2 leaps?
One
One.
customer-owned pole, like we got to
Okay.
install it ourselves.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
So, excuse me, I've dealt with hydro before. You're with hydro, you said, or were?
Yeah, I'm semi-retired.
Yeah. It's difficult to get, hydro in if you don't have a well or a welling.
I can do it. I can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
I used to be the engineering tech for Gary. So, and the supervisor where I worked is now the supervisor for Lafayette. So, we got
That
all
would
very
be,
well. Vince once.
okay.
It's
That
who
might
you
be
know.
retired one.
Well, and it's a community space, so it's not as if you're doing it for a private individual
No.
that has nothing there. Like, it's a community space that you're
I already
doing.
talked to Hydro, I think it was yesterday, and he's fine with it. They send out linemen. So we just need a drop from Hydro, And the only thing I'm trying to do is get it put as a residential service as opposed to a commercial service, which cuts the monthly charge in half. So then it'll be like $10 a month,
As opposed to a commercial being,
$20.67, I think.
So the purpose of the hydro coming to the site there, what is it for? Just lighting or
well,
what else?
what we would like to do, so for example, next year we're hoping to have our annual general meeting at the Green Space. So we would like to be able to plug in our speakers, et cetera, rather than running a generator. For the car show, I believe Stan ran 3 or 4 generators and spent almost $200 on gas. So I think having hydro, you'd have to agree, would be a great addition, to the green space, allowing for that. But in terms of running lights, I don't see us, if we were going to run any lights, I would probably suggest, if this was going to be something that was done, would be just to do solar lights around the roof of the picnic shelter. But to run actual yard lights in that, it's not something we've discussed.
Right.
So.
Go ahead, Rob.
I think it's a great idea because when you put that pole in and get the service, you can put yourself a panel with so many different multiple breaker sizes, so you don't pigeonhole yourself into a 15 amp breaker, put a 40 amp breaker, put a 50 amp, do a number of them.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, futuristically, any invention you want to hold there, you
Yes.
have the capability of power, various types of power
Exactly.
with breakers. I think it's a
Yeah,
big idea.
you don't have single phases, that's all that's there.
Yeah.
But you can, it's kind of ugly, but you can have 2 posts and a piece of plywood.
Yeah.
And your meter socket, probably has to be on the pole. And then you can go underground to the panel,
Yeah.
come up, have your panel and then outlets. And that would probably be the easiest way, the cheapest anyways.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Would it be something that is locked up and monitored too? Because I'm just thinking of somebody pulling in, if somebody wasn't checking up to go out, come there and start camping, the next
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah, no, it would be locked up, yeah.
And I guess the first thing that came to my mind when you started talking about it is, I know that, you're trying to have more events there and
Right.
everything. And for example, even for the car show, if there's
Yes.
a car show next year, if there were a couple of food trucks there that
Yes.
needed power,
Yes.
they would have that availability to them
Yes.
then.
Well, it's a
That would
different,
be iffy, if on a 200 amp service,
Oh, okay,
depending on
okay,
what kind of power they require.
right.
But,
Most are self-sufficient.
yeah,
Yeah.
most,
Yeah, most of them are,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just gonna put in 200 amp, right? That's what you,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's the lowest you can go now, I don't think we offer 100 amp.
I just see it being a positive addition. Like I said, the GLRA is prepared to incur all the expense for installation, what have you. So, something for you folks to ponder.
So the ask is then you folks would install,
Yes.
do all that work?
Yes, yes.
And then we would be responsible as a municipality for the monthly cost, is that
Correct.
what I heard?
Yes.
Okay, just so that we
Yes,
are all
yes.
on the same page here.
Sure, sure.
Anybody?
That's an estimate of 2067?
No, I looked it up, I think that's for the commercial rate. I think it was
Commercial
close
rate,
for the basic monthly charge.
basic monthly charge, and then
Which is-
there's usage
Yeah.
charge on
Right.
it.
And then, yeah, but the usage would be so minimal that, like for lights and a speaker, very, for a day.
And it wouldn't be an everyday thing.
No,
either.
no. No. I mean, this may, again, you know what, I think having the hydro there may bring more events and more things to the area too. So, you know, I mean, at some point down the road, that may have to be something we have to revisit. But I think initially, like I say, just from, in terms of our family picnic, the volleyball, bocce ball tournament is held there, the car show, and I'm assuming they're doing it next year because they've signed on for 10 years with the association that they did it with. So, I see it as a positive step. So again, the GLRA will incur the expenses in a joint thing with the RM. I think we've gotten off to a good start with what we have there and want to continue to develop that. Having said that, the segue into the second part, the GLRA is investigating and would like to propose, we were looking at purchasing 2 porta potties, a standard one and a handicap one, as well as a hand wash station. And again, that's an expense, those are expenses that we will incur. And what we're asking for from the RM, as I understood speaking to Brendan, with regards to the service of the one that's out there, you have a contract with the company that comes and does service for all the RM's porta potties. If we could include our 2 at the green space in that contract, then we will put up the finances to buy the porta potties. And the hand wash station, that would be all us, because that's just a matter of putting water in, the paper towels and the soap, and we will look after that.
We do not have a contract just for pickup, it's rental and pickup of the porta potties.
Oh, okay. Then we would certainly investigate. I have spoken to a couple of services. The reason we initially looked at building an outhouse, and one of the service providers had mentioned to me, because I made some inquiries as to getting it serviced, and he said, to be honest with you, most of the septic pump out companies don't want to take on the responsibility of the outdoor facilities, for the simple reason people have thrown garbage in there and what have you, gets stuck in the hoses and whatever, and it becomes a problem for them. Whereas the porta potties, if there is something down there that shouldn't be down there, it's very easy for them to retrieve with the garbage picker or whatever, and it doesn't damage the equipment. So it was suggested to me at the time that porta potties would be a more viable option for what we want to do there. So again, we're looking at, I've contacted Parkland Septic, who provided a quote of $1,200 for a standard, and the handicap, which isn't a urinal but is 20 inches bigger on either side, is $2,900. So those are the 2 quotes we have so far, and we'll shop it around, but again, we are prepared to do that. So.
Okay, questions from council? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I'm just gonna make a comment, because I remember we had purchased some, but to service them, we weren't saving any money when we purchased them, right? That it was just that, might as well just rent them from
It's
the
cheaper to
company.
rent them
Yeah.
almost, yeah.
Yeah.
The service cost was just as much.
Way more than we thought.
Yeah,
Right.
because we tried to go that route too. but-
Right, we haven't, to be honest, I haven't priced out renting. The thought was we have some capital, we'd like to put it into the park. Certainly that is an option. I'm not aware of anybody that rents, nor have I honestly seen a handicapped one, but that would be at the top of our wish list, or shopping list.
Country John's,
Country John,
Yeah, that's the fellow that was mentioned to me that did the service for the porta potties.
yeah. Yes, and they rent them too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you only need them for 3 months of the year, you're better off to do that, you know? And just accrue that so much a month, every month or whatever, instead of, you know, investing $4,000 and then on top of the 4,000, you would have to pay a monthly fee anyways to come and get them pumped out.
Right, yeah.
There's security issues with them sitting in the winter if no one's using them.
I'm sorry?
Security issues and safety.
In the winter.
Oh, okay.
when
But your
there's
park's
nobody
not
around.
open in the winter anyways.
No, and it's.
But if you have a porta potty in the middle of a field,
Yeah,
and somebody's out there doing something and they get.
It sat there last winter, the one that you had borrowed us sat there last winter without incident. In fact, there was only one snowmobile went through, and I knew the kid that drove through. It's been, to be quite frank, it's been a surprise that we haven't had any incidents of vandalism to our picnic tables,
You better touch wood.
I'm surprised we left a porta potty out in the field, I wasn't aware of that.
So, okay, if there are no more questions, do you have anything else that you want to add, any of you?
The other thing we just wanted to talk about real quick was,
Yeah.
I don't know if council is aware of this or not, but the gravel delivery for the Ian McIntosh Trail was done this week and was not without incident. There's a great deal of damage.
To the grounds?
Yes.
Pretty
Yes.
wet when they brought it in.
It's wet, this is a tricky area because it's basically sand, and quite honestly, we were surprised after the car show. There was no damage to the grounds. Everything was intact, everything was fine. But I think like, you know, the big loads of gravel coming in certainly, you know, pushed down on the ground. Having said that, I was contacted by Brandon, who said that they're working with the trucking company and Public Works to make it right. I'm hoping what could happen is if, rather than a bobcat, because as you're aware, there were previous issues with the ground there. With the bobcat, or it's been suggested possibly having a grader go in there and just do a swat of the whole area and then replant or whatever steps are next, whether it's sodding or whatever the case is. That's something that GLRA could look at if we could get the ground level. I've been contacted by a sod company who's willing to help us out through either, you know, the seniors discount or sod or possibly a donation. But that's something that we could work out. We could get the RM to level us a good chunk of the ground to work with.
How big is the area you're talking here?
Well, in terms of the area that we would look at bettering in terms of sod and what have you, would probably be 50 yards long would be the longest point, and maybe 15, 20 yards wide. That's generally the size we use for our foot races for the picnic. When you folks were out and a couple of old timers who thought they were faster than they were, actually hurt themselves trying to run in a foot race. We look at doing the whole field. I mean, I don't see that being practical with the car show coming in or have you, but if we could do an area adjacent to the picnic shelter, like right in front, where people could watch the races from the shelter and then set up their chairs around, that's something else that we could look at. It's pretty evident when you go in there, if you stand in the parking pad and look towards the field, it's pretty evident what you would need to smooth it out.
Okay, well, if you've talked to Brendan on that part of it, I think we can follow up with Brendan to see what discussions have taken place.
Right.
And we can see where we can help you folks.
Okay. Because like I say, we are certainly willing to pitch into this past summer. I think it's shown a lot of us that having that green space there, encouraging events, and that is a good thing. So.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Deepak, do you have anything that you're needing? No? Anything from you ladies? No? No?
We'll build the dome next.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in today, and we'll have some discussions here, and Deepak will be in touch, and if not Deepak, Brandon will be in touch with you and see how we can help you folks proceed with what you want to do on that green space.
In terms of moving forward with green space, I'm sorry, there is
That's
one more
okay.
thing. Is council comfortable with the GLRA doing small things like we were talking about buying a small portable shed to store our barbecues rather than transporting them out? Is council okay with us making those small additions, improvements to the green space? Or would you like us to come forward with everything?
Well, I think if you could let us know.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
not coming formally every time
Sure.
you want to do something,
Yeah.
but, you know, say if you wanted to move a garden shed in there in 2 weeks, like let the office know, and if there's an issue, we can get a hold of you unless you have another thought, Deepak.
I think coordinating with Brendan
Okay.
is probably the best route.
Yeah.
And then he can give advice if something needs to come forward to council, because not everything does, but sometimes it's a liability and insurance issue depending on what's being put on site and so on.
Right.
And he should be able to investigate that with you and then make a decision if we need to come to council for it.
Okay, good. We'll certainly come if we need money, but,
Jill, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, Hydro might require a statement saying
Yes,
it's okay.
letter of authorization from the
Yes,
owner.
because, I mean, I know I wouldn't let you.
No, just contact Brendan and then he'll let me know and then we'll prepare a letter of authorization that can be sent out and then signed by myself or if not me, the mayor.
Okay, perfect.
What is the process for retrieving the funds from the car show?
You contact the office and then we make them available as necessary.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm not
They
sure.
get put into a separate account, just as we do with a lot of other things for Gull Lake.
No? We have our own piggy bank.
Apparently.
Okay, thank you for that. There's no more questions, we thank you for your time.
Okay.
Please let us know.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we'll see you folks, yeah, thanks for coming in. Thank you.
I will string on it and you can have it.
I needed one for my glasses today, I couldn't find.
I put the wrong ones on there.
All day?
I'm crazy.
Okay, we have another delegation at 2:30, so they should be coming in shortly, do you think?
It's nice that they're willing to throw some real money in
Do we want to go on to the communications for action? There's only about 5 items there, and we can do
Yes,
those
the
before.
mayor, and then we come back as the delegation come forward. So
Right.
item 7.1 is the Interlake Municipal Recreation Association, their awards banquet, and we've been invited. And looks like the presentation is here.
Okay,
And so this is for reschedule the event from September 23rd to October 21st. This is the rescheduling of the event.
right,
And it's for awards for individuals that were recommended for the IMRA awards.
right. And I can tell you, I've had some emails back and forth with Ian, and the tickets for that, and it was supposed to be here today, so I'm not sure if it's still coming, but their tickets are going to be $40 a dinner, so, and he got a quote from the local caterer, I guess, in Stonewall. So I'm not sure if you want to pass a resolution for the who's going, or just that we're having this event, and probably like I say, there'll probably be another letter coming in the next day or two, so.
Madam Mayor, why don't we pass the resolutions authorizing the mayor and council, and then once the other information comes in, any council members that are interested in going can let us know and buy the tickets
Sure.
for those council members.
Yeah, and maybe just put the letter on for information next time so that we can
Yes.
figure out who's
As soon as it
going.
comes.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Resolved, Mayor Feeblecorn and council be authorized to attend the Interlake Municipal Recreation Association Awards Banquet at the Quarry Park Heritage Center, Stonewall, Manitoba, on October 21st, 2024.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strang, seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. The only question I would have is, if we have any award winners, which I believe we do, would we pay for their banquet tickets? Because that could come up.
Since we submitted their names, I would recommend it. Council
Okay.
pay for the tickets.
Okay. It's just that if it comes up, then we'll know.
Okay, so sorry, I think you've done the vote, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so in camera, we have a delegation coming forward, Madam Mayor, and we'd like to be able to go in camera to
Sure.
discuss this.
Yeah.
So, resolve council recess the regular meeting and go into in camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed will remain confidential as per section 83(1)D of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Boulanger, Councillor Sutherland, seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried.
And council, as you may recall, Mr. Singh has been to
Camera's
Good
still on.
counsel.
Just gonna ask, is camera on?
That's right. Yep,
It's up.
no,
No.
right away, do it right now. How much lagging a little bit.
Okay.
very good.